In October 2024, we released an episode called The Beer Kellers and Beer Gardens of Munich. And this is a scene taken from that episode, where we visit the most famous beer keller, not just in Munich, but the whole world.
Marmor, Stein und Eisen bricht, aber unsere Liebe nicht. Alles geht vorbei, doch wir sind uns treu. Kann ich einmal nicht bei dir sein, dam dam, dam dam. Denk daran, du bist nicht allein, dam dam, dam dam. Marmor, Stein und Eisen.
This is the world famous Hofbräuhaus, major tourist attraction here in Munich. But it was in 1589 that Duke Wilhelm V, he'd had enough of the beers of Munich. The quality wasn't good, the price wasn't good, didn't compare with what he'd experienced in other regions of what is now Germany. So he started the Hofbräuhaus himself. And it was designed to just serve the royal court at that point in time. Now, it wasn't until 1828 when Ludwig I, he opened this to the public for the first time. And it became massively popular, as you can imagine. Back in those days, breweries, they weren't taverns as well, but obviously then they realised that they could make some good money by letting the general public in. And it became so popular that by 1896, they had to close the doors because they couldn't accommodate brewing and a tavern in this one place, despite it being massive. So in 1897, it was effectively reconstructed inside to be purely a tavern, and the brewery itself was moved out of the city, and actually it's probably a few miles out these days. But today it's a massive beer hall with live music, tourists from all over the world coming here. Great atmosphere, but it's not for everybody because it is very touristy and a little bit more expensive because of that. But if you go in, it's beautiful. Did get bombed, badly damaged during World War II, but it comes with a lot of history. I mean, the Nazi Party used to meet here regularly. Hitler used to do talks to thousands of people in here, and they don't tend to advertise that on the website here. But hell of a place, a lot of history. And last night we went and had a few beers in there, and we'll show some footage of that now. Okay, so the other thing about the Hofbräuhaus is there are over 100 tables here that are reserved for regulars, Stammtisch, and there's some examples over here, but it gets a little bit cooler than that. So you've got Stammtisch, but what's a little bit cooler is, for those regulars, there's a vault. Over 600 cages containing the Kruger, the Steins for the locals. The waiting list is years on this sort of thing, but everybody has their own padlock, their own Stein, and when they come to their reserved tables, they unlock their own Stein, the staff pour them a drink, and they're on their way. So I think there's 616, I think there might be, or a bit more or less than that, but pretty cool. And there's more right down the other end as well. So this is a place that is in the past 150 years or so, really started to embrace the people of Munich and give those regulars a really good, exclusive time. Fair play. Now, the Hofbräuhaus is probably the main tourist attraction for global travellers coming to Munich. And as we've touched on already, there's a little bit of a Nazi footprint here. However, in 1920, really, this beer Keller here gave birth to the Nazi Party. The festival hall just above here, which we'll go and have a look at now, is where Adolf Hitler, when he was chief of propaganda for the German Workers' Party, which soon became the Nazi Party, he gave a speech to 2,000 people upstairs, giving the 25 points of the Nazi Party manifesto, and that was the start of Nazism. And from there on until the World War II, the Hofbräuhaus was a regular meeting point for the Nazi Party. Let's go and have a look at the festival hall. Let's go. Locked. Well, the doors are locked, but this is the festival hall here, and you'll see from old photos that Hitler and the Nazi Party had massive meetings here, and I think it was 1923 there was the Battle of the Hofbräuhaus, where the Nazis and the communists got into a massive scrap, a real bloody scrap in here. But look at it. It's outstanding in there. Absolutely outstanding. Such a historic place. So, and then obviously up until the Second World War, this was used as a very regular meeting place. Can't get in there today. Have been in there in the past. Don't seem to recall it used to being locked, but I guess every man and their dog is trying to get in here. Although I don't think most tourists who come to the Hofbräuhaus realise just what this place really used to entertain. But I guess in the 1920s, you had the Beer Hall Putsch and things like that, where Hitler was famously arrested and put in prison and wrote Mein Kampf. This was the place to go and capture an audience. You didn't have television. You had thousands of men, women drinking beer. Perfect place to go and capture an audience and inspire people, and that's exactly what Hitler did. So beer, but a lot of other kind of history as well.
I actually managed to get inside the festival hall. I remembered about a secret door around the corner, which Joe Public is not meant to use.
Already had a little look at the Nazi footprints that remain in this particular building, although they've been covered up somewhat. But you may be forgiven for things like that. The chap up there resembles Adolf Hitler
here is Aloysius, and he exists from a 1911 short story from Bavaria. He was a porter at the Hofbräuhaus, the main train station, and working hard one day, he had a stroke and died. Now, Aloysius, when he was alive, he used to come to the Hofbräuhaus every day and drink beer. When he died, he ascended to heaven. They gave him clouds, wings, a harp, but the guy was absolutely bored out of his skull. There was no beer, there was no snuff, and he was having a torrid time of it. So, the powers that be gave him a special mission to come back down to earth, to bring to the Bavarian government divine intervention, to make them more holy. So he came down with a letter. However, he stopped off at his beloved Hofbräuhaus first and didn't really leave. He got sloshed, and as a result he stayed there forever, still carrying his wings on the cloud, and never delivered that particular message, and therefore that divine intervention, that divine message never reached the Bavarian government. He resides here until this very day, and I doubt that's going to change anytime soon. And if you go to the Hofbräu Festzelt tent at the Oktoberfest, you will also find Aloysius in there too. So no, despite looks, we've got nothing to do with Adolf Hitler.
Aside from its bustling beer Keller, the Hofbräuhaus also has a really pleasant courtyard area for those looking to enjoy fresh air and sunshine.